A rideshare driver humiliates a black woman, forcing her out of his car with racist remarks. He drives away smirking until his phone rings. The voice on the other end belongs to his regional manager, the same woman he just abandoned on the street. His career ends in 24 hours. Justice served cold. Rain hammers the pavement like 1,000 angry fists. Naomi Carter stands beneath a broken streetlight, her royal blue blazer darkening with every second. Her phone glows in her hand, the rideshare app still open, still showing Derek's face and his 5-star rating. She doesn't move. She just watches the taillights disappear around the corner, red eyes vanishing into the storm. Her thumb hovers over the report driver button. She doesn't press it. Not yet. Instead, she scrolls to her contacts. Past friends. Past family. She stops at a name that makes her jaw tighten. Corporate access line. The call connects. One ring, two. This is Naomi Carter, Regional Operations Manager. Employee ID 447 Alpha. I need an immediate driver file pulled. Her voice cuts through the rain like steel. License plate November X-ray 7423. I'll hold, the operator stammers. Ms. Carter, is everything... I'll hold in 30 seconds of silence. Thunder rolls overhead. Water streams down her face, but her hand stays steady. File retrieved, ma'am. Derek Sullivan. Active driver since 2019. Current rating 4.92. Naomi's eyes close. When they open, something dangerous flickers behind them. Flag his account for immediate review. Tomorrow morning. Conference room A, I'll handle this personally. She ends the call. The rain doesn't feel cold anymore. Where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for part 2. 6 hours earlier, the sun had been shining. Naomi had stood in her apartment studying her reflection in the mirror. The royal blue blazer fit perfectly. Professional, confident, exactly the image she'd cultivated over 8 years with the company. She'd started in customer service. Bottom of the ladder, headset and scripts and angry passengers who treated her like she was invisible. But she'd listened to every complaint, read every pattern, built spreadsheets in her off hours that nobody asked for. 2 years later, she was managing the complaint resolution team. 4 years after that, she was regional operations manager for the entire Northeastern District. 73,000 active drivers. 2.4 million rides per month. She'd earned every promotion. Tonight's trip was routine, a surprise quality check at the Brighton hub. She believed in experiencing the service the way customers did, so she booked a standard ride through the app, just like anyone else. No special treatment. No executive car service. Just a regular Tuesday night ride. Her phone buzzed. Your driver is 2 minutes away. Derek in a silver sedan. She grabbed her leather portfolio and headed downstairs. The street was quiet, residential, safe. The silver sedan pulled up exactly on time. She could see the driver through the windshield. White guy, late 30s, buzzed hair. He was staring at his phone. Naomi opened the back door. Hi, I'm Naomi. Headed to Brighton hub? Derek looked up. His smile died the moment he saw her face. The silence stretched for 3 full seconds. Brighton hub? Derek's tone flattened. That's like 30 minutes away. Naomi settled into the back seat, portfolio on her lap. Yes, the app confirmed the route when you accepted. He didn't move. Just stared at her through the rearview mirror. You work there? His eyes narrowed. At the hub? I have business there. She kept her voice light, professional. Is there a problem? Derek put the car in drive but didn't accelerate. No problem, just... That area's gotten rough lately. Lots of complaints. Naomi's fingers tightened on her portfolio. She'd heard this before. The code words. The excuses, I go there frequently. It's perfectly safe. Yeah, well, Derek pulled into traffic, slower than necessary. You sure you got the right address? Maybe you want somewhere else. I'm sure, 10 minutes passed. Derek kept glancing at her in the mirror. Each look lasted a little longer. A little harder. So what do you do? He finally asked. I work in operations. Operations, he snorted. That some kind of corporate thing? Something like that. His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. Must be nice. Fancy job. Fancy clothes. The word fancy came out like an insult. Naomi said nothing. She pulled out her phone, pretending to check emails, but she opened the camera app instead. Record button ready, you know what I think? Derek's voice dropped. I think people like you don't belong in neighborhoods like Brighton. The air in the car turned to ice. Excuse me? He met her eyes in the mirror. No smile, no pretense. You heard me, Naomi pressed record. I'd like you to continue to my destination, please. Nah. Derek jerked the wheel. The car lurched to the curb. I think you need to find another ride. What? Get out. He turned in his seat, jabbing a finger at the door. I don't have to drive anyone I don't want to. Company policy. Rain had started falling. Heavy drops exploded on the windshield. Naomi's voice stayed level. That's not company policy. Discrimination is get out. She held his stare for 5 seconds. Then she reached for the door handle. This is being recorded, she said quietly. Derek laughed. Actually laughed. Good, record this. I'm a 5-star driver. You're nobody. Naomi stepped out into the rain. The door slammed before she could grab her umbrella from the back seat. Derek's window rolled down. Maybe next time, know your place. The silver sedan peeled away, splashing water across her shoes. The rain came harder. Naomi stood on the sidewalk, phone still recording, watching the car disappear. Her blazer clung to her shoulders. Water dripped from her hair onto the screen. She stopped the recording, saved it, backed it up to the cloud. Then she just stood there, her hands didn't shake. They never did. 8 years in corporate America had taught her that much. Never let them see you break. But inside, something old and familiar stirred. The same feeling from when she was 16, followed through a department store by security. The same feeling from college, when a professor suggested she was only admitted through special programs. The same feeling that had fueled every late night, every extra hour, every promotion she'd clawed her way toward. She'd told herself that if she worked hard enough, climbed high enough, she could change things, make the system better, safer, fairer. Tonight proved she'd been naive. A car passed, headlights sweeping over her. The driver stared but didn't stop. Naomi looked at her phone. She could call another ride, go home, file a complaint through the normal channels, let it disappear into the system like all the others probably had. Or she opened her contacts. Her real contacts. The ones with direct lines to legal, HR, and the CEO's office. Derek thought she was nobody. He was about to learn exactly how wrong he was. 10 years ago, Naomi had been the one calling customer service. She'd been a college student then, working 2 jobs, catching rides between campus and her night shift at the hospital. One driver had cancelled on her 3 times in a row, each time after seeing her photo. She'd missed work, lost a day's pay, nearly lost the job. When she'd called to complain, the service rep had been sympathetic but useless. We'll note it in the system, they'd said. Nothing changed. That's when she'd decided. If the system wouldn't protect people like her, she'd become the system. She'd applied for a customer service position the next week. Spent her first year documenting every complaint that mentioned race, disability, or discrimination. Built databases nobody asked for. Presented findings nobody wanted to see. Her supervisor had called her overzealous. Her colleagues had called her difficult. But the data didn't lie. 17% of ride cancellations in certain neighborhoods had no legitimate reason. Drivers with patterns of behavior that should have flagged them stayed active for years. Passengers, mostly women, mostly minorities, were left stranded and told it was just business. Naomi had taken her findings to the regional director. She'd expected to be fired. Instead, she'd been promoted. Someone needs to care about this, the director had said. Might as well be you. That promotion had led to another, and another. Each time she'd promised herself she'd be the person she'd needed 10 years ago. Tonight, standing in the rain, she remembered that promise. Derek's file would be on her desk by morning. And this time the complaint wouldn't disappear. By midnight, Naomi sat in her home office, hair still damp, laptop glowing. Derek Sullivan's file filled the screen. On the surface, perfect. 5 years as a driver, 4.92 rating, over 12,000 completed trips, 0 violations, but Naomi knew where to look. She'd built these systems. She knew every backdoor, every buried report, every complaint that got coded as resolved instead of investigated. She opened the hidden log. Complaints that had been dismissed or downgraded by first-level reviewers to 3. Entries appeared. March 2023, passenger reported hostile attitude after driver questioned her destination. Marked as miscommunication. July 2023. Passenger complained of inappropriate comments about appearance. Marked as he said, she said. November 2024. Passenger, elderly black man, reported being told the ride would take too long and was asked to exit. Marked as driver discretion. Naomi's jaw clenched. 3 strikes. 3 times the system had failed. She cross-referenced the passenger's demographics. Pattern confirmed. Every complaint came from black passengers. Everyone had been buried. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. She pulled trip data, cancellation rates, neighborhood statistics. The picture crystallized. Derek didn't accept rides in predominantly black neighborhoods unless surge pricing made it worth his while. His cancellation rate in those areas was 47% higher than average. He'd been gaming the system for years, and nobody had noticed, or nobody had cared. Naomi opened a new document. Subject line: Immediate termination review driver 44729DS. She attached the video from tonight. The complaint history, the statistical analysis. Then she did something she rarely did. She sent it directly to the CEO, the head of HR, and the legal team. Subject line edition. This ends tomorrow. She hit send at 12:47 a.m. Her phone rang at 12:51 a.m. The CEO. How bad is this? His voice was tight. Bad enough that if it goes public, we're facing a discrimination lawsuit and a media firestorm. Silence. Then, what do you need? Conference room A, 9 a.m. Him, me, HR, and legal. Done. Naomi closed her laptop. The rain had stopped. Through her window, the city lights sparkled like justice waiting to be served. Derek was probably asleep right now, dreaming whatever dreams men like him dreamed. By this time tomorrow, he'd be unemployed. Derek woke to his phone buzzing at 7:15 a.m. Email from corporate. Mandatory attendance required. Meeting at 9 a.m. Brighton Hub. Conference room A. Failure to attend will result in immediate account suspension. He read it twice, yawning. Probably some new policy training. Maybe a bonus review. His ratings had been solid lately. He texted his buddy Marcus, corporate meeting this morning. Bet they're giving me driver of the month, LOL. Marcus sent back a laughing emoji. Derek showered, threw on jeans and his company polo. He stopped for coffee. Arrived at the hub at 8:55 a.m., relaxed. The receptionist looked up when he walked in. Her smile faltered. Derek Sullivan? That's me. She glanced at her computer screen, swallowed. Conference room A, down the hall, last door on the right. Something in her tone made his stomach twist. But he shrugged it off. He walked down the hallway. Framed photos of happy passengers lined the walls. Company values printed in cream-colored letters. Respect, safety, inclusion. He reached the door. Took a breath. Pushed it open. The room was small. A long table. 3 people seated on one side. The woman at the head of the table looked up. Derek's coffee cup slipped from his fingers. It hit the floor, lid popping off. Brown liquid spreading across the tile. Naomi Carter sat perfectly still, hands folded on the table. Her royal blue blazer was spotless now. Dry-cleaned, professional. Her eyes locked onto his. "Hello, Derek." Her voice was calm, surgical. "Please, sit down." His legs wouldn't move. To her left sat a man in a grey suit, HR director, according to the nameplate. To her right, a woman with a legal pad and a pen poised like a weapon. Naomi gestured to the empty chair across from her. "We have a lot to discuss." Derek's mouth opened. Nothing came out. She reached for her laptop. Turned it so the screen faced him. "Let's start with last night." She pressed play. His own voice filled the room. "Maybe next time." "Know your place." Derek's face drained of color. Naomi leaned forward. "I'm Naomi Carter, Regional Operations Manager, and as of this moment your employment is under formal review." The door clicked shut behind him. He was trapped. Derek's legs finally moved. He stumbled into the chair, hands gripping the edge of the table. That wasn't... His voice cracked. "You don't understand. I was having a bad day. I didn't mean..." Naomi raised one hand. The video kept playing. His face filled the screen, twisted with contempt, his finger jabbing toward the camera. "Get out." "I don't have to drive anyone I don't want to." The HR director made a note. The sound of pen on paper felt impossibly loud. "There's been a misunderstanding." Derek tried again. Sweat beaded on his forehead. "If I'd known who you were..." "Stop!" Naomi's voice cut like glass. "If you'd known who I was, what? You would have treated me like a human being." Silence swallowed the room. Derek's hands started shaking. He looked at the HR director. "The legal advisor." Back to Naomi. No one's expression changed. No one was coming to save him. "I want to call someone," he said. "A lawyer, or..." "You're welcome to." Naomi slid a paper across the table. "But let me be clear. This isn't a criminal proceeding. This is an employment review. You violated company policy. Multiple company policies." She paused the video on his face, frozen in mid-sneer. "You discriminated against a passenger based on race. You abandoned her in unsafe conditions. You violated our community guidelines and driver code of conduct." Her voice never rose, never wavered. "This meeting is a courtesy. We could have terminated your account remotely." Derek's world tilted. The walls seemed closer. "The air thinner, please," he whispered. "I need this job." Naomi's expression didn't change. "So did the grandmother you refused last March. So did the student you kicked out in July. So did the elderly man you abandoned in November." His face went white. "How do you..." "I know everything, Derek." Naomi opened a folder. 3 printed complaint forms slid across the table. March 14th, 2023. Passenger Gloria Henderson, age 71. Naomi's finger tapped the first page. "You questioned her destination, then told her the ride would take too long. She missed her dialysis appointment." Derek's mouth opened, closed. July 22nd, 2023. Passenger Destiny Williams, age 19. You made comments about her appearance, then cancelled the ride mid-trip after she objected. She missed her final exam. The HR director's pen moved steadily across the legal pad. November 3rd, 2024. Passenger Marcus Jennings, age 68. You told him you didn't feel comfortable with the destination. He walked 2 miles in the rain to his wife's hospital room. Naomi looked up. Her eyes were steel. All 3 filed complaints. All 3 were dismissed as miscommunication or driver discretion. But I pulled your data, Derek. Your cancellation rate in predominantly black neighborhoods is 47% above average. Your acceptance rate in those same areas drops to 61%. She turned her laptop around. Spreadsheets, color-coded maps, irrefutable patterns. You've been systematically discriminating for years. The system failed to catch you. I won't. Derek's lawyer instinct finally kicked in. You can't prove intent. Maybe those areas have bad traffic, or save it. The legal advisor spoke for the first time, her voice bored. We have video evidence of explicit discriminatory language. Combined with pattern data, this is textbook grounds for immediate termination with cause. Derek slumped in his chair. What do you want from me? Naomi leaned back. I want you to understand what you've done. Not to me, I'll be fine, but to every passenger you've ever left standing in the rain. Every person who trusted this platform and got you instead. She pulled up a new document. This is the revised driver policy I'm implementing today. Mandatory bias training. 3-strike complaint escalation. Third-party review of all discrimination claims. And permanent termination for anyone who, she looked directly at him, tells a passenger to know their place. Derek's head dropped into his hands. The HR director cleared his throat. Mr. Sullivan, you have the right to respond to these allegations. Derek looked up. His eyes were red. What's the point? You've already decided. Actually, Naomi said, I want to hear from you. I want to understand why. The room fell silent. Derek's jaw worked once, twice. You want the truth? That's why we're here. Fine, his voice turned bitter. You want to know why? Because I'm tired. Tired of following rules that don't apply to everyone. Tired of watching people get ahead because of quotas and diversity hiring, while guys like me get passed over. Naomi's expression didn't flicker. Go on. I've been driving for 5 years. 5 years of dealing with passengers who don't tip, who trash my car, who report me for nothing. And yeah, maybe I've learned to avoid certain neighborhoods. Maybe I've learned which rides aren't worth my time. His voice rose. That's not racism. That's business. Business, Naomi repeated the word like she was tasting poison. Tell me, Derek, was it business when you told me to know my place? He flinched. Was it business when Gloria Henderson missed dialysis? When Destiny Williams failed her exam? When Marcus Jennings walked 2 miles in the rain? That's not, I didn't... Derek's words tangled. Naomi stood. She walked to the window. The Brighton Hub parking lot stretched below. Dozens of drivers arriving for their shifts. Good drivers. Honest drivers. I built my career on one principle, she said quietly. Everyone deserves dignity. Every passenger. Every driver. Everyone. She turned back to face him. You had 5 years to learn that lesson. You chose not to. You chose to see passengers as inconveniences. You chose to let your biases dictate your behavior. You chose to make people feel less than human. Derek's shoulders shook. I'm sorry. Are you? Naomi's voice cut through his tears. Or are you sorry you got caught? He had no answer. The legal advisor slid a document across the table. This is your termination agreement. Effective immediately. Your driver account will be deactivated. You'll receive your final payment within 7 business days. You are permanently banned from reapplying to this platform or any affiliated service. Derek stared at the paper. Black ink on white, his career ending in bullet points. If you sign now, the HR director added, we'll process this as voluntary resignation. If you refuse, we'll proceed with termination for cause. That goes on your record. Your choice. Derek picked up the pen. His hand trembled so badly he could barely sign his name. The moment he finished, Naomi pulled out her phone. 3 taps. Driver account 44729DS deactivated. Effective 10:47 a.m. Derek's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out. The app opened to a gray screen. Your account has been permanently deactivated. His 5-star rating vanished. 12,000 trips erased. 5 years gone. He looked at Naomi. You really hate me, don't you? She met his eyes. I don't hate you, Derek. I don't think about you at all. But I think about Gloria and Destiny and Marcus. I think about every passenger who'll never have to deal with you again. She nodded toward the door. You can leave through the back exit. Derek stood, walked to the door, paused with his hand on the handle. Was it worth it? He asked. Destroying my life over one mistake? Naomi's voice followed him out. It wasn't one mistake. It was 5 years of mistakes. I just finally noticed. The door closed behind him. The conference room felt larger after Derek left. The HR director closed his folder. That was necessary. Hand long overdue. Naomi nodded. She felt exhausted. No triumph, no satisfaction. Just the weight of knowing she'd let it go on too long. The system had let it go on too long. The policy changes, the legal advisor said. When do you want them implemented? Today. Naomi pulled up her laptop. Every driver gets notified by end of business. Mandatory training starts next week. Any driver who refuses gets suspended pending review. That's aggressive. Good. She spent the next 3 hours in back-to-back meetings. The CEO wanted a full report. The compliance team needed documentation. The PR department wanted talking points in case the story leaked. By 3 p.m., the new policies were live. By 5 p.m., every driver in the Northeastern District had received notification. The pushback started immediately. Emails flooded in. Why are you punishing all of us for one bad driver? This is corporate overreach. You're making it impossible to do our jobs. Naomi read every single one, responded to none. At 7 p.m., she finally left the office. She opened the rideshare app out of habit. Requested a ride home. The driver arrived in 8 minutes. A woman, maybe 50, with kind eyes and a car that smelled like vanilla. Rough day, she asked as Naomi settled into the back seat. You could say that. They drove in comfortable silence, through the city streets, past the corner where Derek had left her standing in the rain. Naomi looked out the window. The street light still flickered, but somehow the darkness felt less heavy. Here we are, the driver said, pulling up to Naomi's building. You take care now. You too. Naomi left a $20 tip and a 5-star review. Small victories. That's what change looked like. One ride at a time, one driver at a time, one policy at a time. She walked into her apartment, poured a glass of wine, sat by the window and thought about Gloria, Destiny and Marcus. They'd never know what happened today, never know that Derek was gone, never know that the system had finally worked, but Naomi knew, and tomorrow she'd keep working to make sure it worked for everyone. 2 weeks later, Naomi received an email, subject line, "Thank you, the sender, Marcus Jennings. I saw the news about the policy changes. I don't know if my complaint mattered, but I wanted you to know it meant something. My wife passed last month. That ride I missed was the last time I could have said goodbye while she was still awake. I'll never get that back. But maybe someone else won't have to lose what I lost. Thank you for caring." Naomi read it 3 times, printed it, pinned it above her desk. Some people thought justice was dramatic, courtrooms and verdicts and punishment served hot, but real justice was quieter. It was policy changes. It was complaint systems that actually worked. It was making sure the next Gloria, the next Destiny, the next Marcus got the dignity they deserved. Derek thought he was just one driver. Just one ride. Just one bad day. He didn't understand that every act of cruelty ripples outward. Every moment of discrimination compounds. Every time someone says, "Know your place," they're telling an entire group of people they don't belong. Naomi learned a long time ago that she couldn't change everyone, but she could change the system. She could build protections. She could make it harder for people like Derek to hide. She looked at Marcus's email one more time. Justice wasn't revenge. It wasn't destruction. It was making sure that when someone needed help, they got it. When someone needed dignity, they received it. When someone needed protection, the system didn't fail them, one ride at a time, one policy at a time, one person at a time. That was how you changed the world. Naomi closed her laptop. Tomorrow there would be more complaints, more Dereks, more work to do. But tonight she'd helped one person